I started my outdoor climbing journey in July of 2021, and since then I've pretty much committed myself to being a climber that spends all of her weekends outside. Fast forward 4 months later, in October of 2021, I sent my first outdoor V5, Perfectly Chicken, on a Bishop climbing trip. At this point in time, I'd completed a whopping handful of V0s and V1s outdoors and one solid V3. Perfectly Chicken truly changed my perspective on not just outdoor climbing, but my climbing in general. Rather than letting grades dictate my outdoor climbing, I allowed myself to be inspired by the line and also the boulders around me who supported me in my journey. Throughout my climbing journey, I've tried to be mindful about not letting myself be carried away by breaking grades. And Perfectly Chicken was proof that if I allowed myself to be influenced by these arbitrary boundaries, I would simply limit my capabilities. And I want to be inspired by boulders rather than by the grade. It's been almost 5 months since Perfectly Chicken, and while I've gained a lot from my weekend outdoors at Joshua Tree, I haven't really found a climb that struck a chord with me yet. Until now. This is the story of Chocolate Roof Center, the first climb that I've been truly inspired by since Perfectly Chicken. So, Chocolate Roof is located in Quail Springs, Joshua Tree on the Chocolate Roof Boulder. The Chocolate Boulders is about 12 feet tall with 3 lines: Chocolate Roof Left, which is a V4, Chocolate Roof Center, a V5, and Chocolate Roof Right, a V3. It starts on a deep crack, runs through a tricky slab face, goes up on an overhanging section with thin crimps, and finishes with a committing jump onto Hail Mary jugs. Not to mention the landing is definitely spooky and has a rock on the right side that is in the fall zone of Chocolate Roof Center. Besides the aesthetic appeal of the climb, I appreciate how it tests various technical aspects of my climbing. I'm going to be honest, as a traditionally static climber, the final jump into the jugs really intimidates me. When I saw other people's beta videos on Chocolate Roof Center, all I could think about was, wow, how awesome would that be if I could stick the jump? In an effort to diversify my climbing style and pursue climbs that make me feel uncomfortable, Chocolate Roof Center pretty much checks all of those boxes. It's been about 2 weeks since my first session on Chocolate Roof Center, and after warming up, I am going for my flash attempt. The more methodical climber in me wants to parse through the sequence again and try the correct section again, but I am learning to be okay with climbing imperfectly and with uncertainty. In my previous section, I was able to do each move of Chocolate Roof Center in isolation, but I've never been able to link them. Despite this, I want to give this line a good, honest day flash attempt with the mentality that this will be my Zen go. In the projecting process, something that I can get lost in is wanting to perfect my sequence. I basically want to know that I can complete every single move before stringing it together. However, the nature of projecting is to be at one's maximum capability, and expecting perfection is just unrealistic. My day flash attempt honestly surprised me. I had spent the last session slipping off of the delicate slab sequence and losing tension when reaching out right towards the roof. But this time, I felt really confident that I wouldn't slip on the slab, and the transition from the slab to the roof felt more effortless. I even remember grabbing the crimp with my left hand and thinking that the crimp felt really good and there's space for my right hand, more so than I remembered. I didn't send this attempt, but I did learn 2 things. 1, I became aware of how much my body was capable of remembering the efforts I made during my first session, and 2, it allowed me to shift my focus to addressing a different portion of the climb. From both sessions, my crux move is still consistent. I find it challenging to match the left-handed crimp and then jump. Some people opt for a right heel, but I felt more controlled doing the jump for 2 reasons. Number 1, a heel hook would require more body tension and precise placement, which was energy that I wasn't willing to expend, especially if I was able to match the crimp. And 2, when I was watching other send videos of Chocolate Roof, I noticed that after they set a right heel and explode to the jug, they would still cut feet to transition anyways. Jumping to the jug would simply allow me more control to position my feet. It's just a little bit more committing. And while the jump might seem like the crux of this climb, For me, it was actually setting up for it on this little left-hand crimp.
I'm not gonna jump. I got scared. Oh, why did I not jump?
You make the first move, so
When I finally stick the move with my left hand, I bump out left to the worst part of it in order to match my right hand. It feels like I'm either losing tension on my foot or my hand, and thus pop off. And this is my favorite part of projecting, when I'm confronted with the question of whether this project is even possible for me at this moment in time. Whether I need to be stronger or more technical, whether I need to be bold or delicate. When I watched my friend Ashwin try this climb, I noticed how he was twisting his right knee in order to come into the hold. This allows him to put more tension on his foothold, giving him plenty of time to find a good right hand. I also utilize a similar slight drop in my right knee, but as soon as I straighten my leg, I drop. And the same thing also happens to Ashwin. In the projecting process, it can be easy to say that the reason why I'm not able to resolve the crux is because I'm not strong enough or tall enough, which is why I've broken down my projecting process into two very simple questions. Number 1, why did I fall? Number 2, what can I do to improve my chances of sending? These questions are inspired by Hannah Morris's collaboration video with Louis Parkinson, which I've included in the description below for you to check out. Question number 1, why did I fall? I fell because I straightened my right knee and lost all the tension on my feet. Question number 2, what can I do to improve my chances of sending? To improve my chances of sending, I need to be mindful about keeping a bend in my right knee before and after I match the crimp. In a perfect world, I would try the crux until I knew I could stick the move, but I had to consider the amount of skin and energy I had. It also didn't help that this boulder was getting warmer and baking in the sun as the day went on. And after speaking with Dakota and Ashwin, I made the call to try the line from the beginning. There is a tricky balance in projecting between spending time on the crux and trusting that it's simply time to try the line in full. And if I'm being completely honest, I am still learning to tread this balance, oftentimes erring on the side of being overly cautious. I felt strong during the slab sequence and was no longer worried about slipping off. But as soon as I approach the crimp before the jump, I feel nervous, anxious, and hesitant. These emotions can be seen in the moments just before I make the jump. And by the time I decide to go for it, I've already pretty much psyched myself out of catching it.
That felt like a good burn. Oh, thank you.
Why did I fall? I fell because I was scared of making the jump. What can I do to improve my chances of sending? After I set myself up on the crimp, I won't hesitate before making the jump. I know that I've already fallen off from this position before and landed safely. I need to continue to trust my spotters and myself.
nice.
Fuck yeah.
Let's go. Go.
Woo!
Nice.
Let's go.
Nice. Sweet.
Thank you.
That's it.
Oh my god. Woo. Yeah, I'm so excited here.
Chocolate Roof challenged me to be dynamic, bold, and most importantly, trusting of not only myself, but the people around me to have my back. Thank you to Dom, Heidi, Koji, Dakota, and Ashwin, and all of you for supporting me in completing Chocolate Roof. And just a gentle PSA to be kind to your mind and utilize the comments and our community as a space to spread both compassion and knowledge. I'm grateful for you all for making it to the end of the video, and I will see you in the next adventure.